This one have been in development since 2011 and it's still ongoing. For almost 15 years, someone could have started following it in elementary school and finished college before it ends. But it is going to end soon, as only one chapter of this story remains. This comic series is called Missing Pieces, and as you can guess from the name, this comic series tries to connect all parts of the Lion King franchise. That's because this franchise feels like a puzzle that misses more than a few pieces, and this comic tries to provide those missing pieces. So from Mohatu's era to even a while after Lion King 2, this series will answer all the questions that Disney never answered. It will make sense out of the inconsistencies and put everything in one timeline. At first I considered it a good enough story, but not top 10 material. But after each chapter, the comic got better and better, and now in my opinion it is the 7th best Lion King fan project. So yeah, if it interests you, go and read it for yourself. Spoilers ahead. In chapter 1, Mufasa and Taka are cubs. Serabi and Serafina want to play with them, but Mufasa will be busy with Ahadi, so they only take Taka. But Taka will be bullied by the other cubs because this is another story of Taka not wanting the throne at first, but being bullied slowly makes him greedy. Taka will run away, and when Serabi and Serafina try to talk to him, he will lash out. In the elephant graveyard, the daughter of the leader of the hyenas is bullying Ed. Shenzi will defend him. Banzai will also become friends with Shenzi because of this. Ahadi will make Taka feel better by talking to him, and Taka will apologize to Serabi and Serafina. But Taka just can't get those mockeries out of his head, so he will slowly become sadder and more of a loner. He will find Shenzi, Banzai and Ed and tries to become friends with them. But Ahadi will chase them away because lions being racist against the hyenas is one of the most overused ideas in Lion King fan projects. Taka won't meet them again until he becomes a teenager and ends up in the graveyard. When he realizes they are starving, he will be back with a hunt. So he is kind? No, he just does it because he would be the one with power like this. But after a while, another misunderstanding happens. Mufasa thinks the hyenas are attacking Taka, so he fights them. They will knock him out, but Taka stops them from killing him and asks them to leave. Ahadi will show up and ask Taka what was he doing. Taka said he was just talking, which angers Ahadi. Taka tries to reason with him, but it doesn't work. So he lashes out, and when he said he wished he never was part of this family, Ahadi's anger will erupt and he will hit Taka, which gives him the scar. So yeah, he gonna go full on psycho mode again. Taka will go to the hyena clan and tells them that if they work for him, one day they will live in the Pride Lands. The next day, he will tell Ahadi that all he remembers is the scar he gave to him. So he should never call him his son again, and nobody will call him Taka again. He is Scar now. Uru would refuse to call him that name. The guilt of harming his son will be a burden to Ahadi. He will die because of a broken heart soon. Scar will smile in his funeral. After a while, Uru will also die. She was the only person Scar truly loved, so after this nothing of Taka will be left in him. In book 2, Scar will tell the hyenas to kill Mitu just as a test. He will get Mitu killed to see if he will feel bad about it or not. He killed a cub who has just learned how to walk, not as part of a plan and not even in spite of anyone. Even if he said he did it because he could, it wouldn't be as messed up as this. It got disturbing sooner than I expected. Looking at these 2 pages scares me. My heart wants to come out of my mouth. Just look how innocent Mitu is. cuddling Scar, smiling at him, playing with him, and Scar just doesn't feel anything. He just doesn't see how innocent he is. He just doesn't care. In the first day of Scar's kingdom, he will take the pride to Mufasa's corpse, as Serabi made him. He says he didn't find Simba's body, which might be for the better, and that was a good manipulation technique. He basically said if seeing an adult's corpse is this heartbreaking, they better not look for the corpse of a cub. For just 1 second, he feels regret, but the moment he remembers receiving a scar from Ahadi, he closes his heart again. Scar will ban everyone from entering or exiting Pride Lands, and will break all the connections with the neighboring kingdoms. We will see a heartbreaking scene of Tojo sending his birds away from Pride Lands in order to protect the birds from the hyenas. Serabi will send Tojo and Chombi to live with Malka's pride because they are afraid Scar might get rid of the male cubs one day. Scar will find it out and will send the hyenas to wipe out that entire pride, and he will tell Serabi that she is the one that killed them, which destroys Serabi. After that, no lioness tried to rebel against Scar. He will continue using the hyenas to push neighboring prides further and further, and it works on every pride except for one, an army of lionesses led by Zero, who will metaphorically and literally have a bloody entrance. Show Scar who's the boss, girl. They will eventually mate in this universe, but Scar won't have any romantic attraction to her. Unlike this story, I like to have Scar and Zero as an evil couple that are madly in love. But just like this story, I headcanon that their first meeting was as enemies. A hyena corpse falls in front of Scar before he can ask. Zero says, I did. Who's next? Scar says, where is your king? I want to talk to him. And then one of the lionesses says, she's listening. My god, I love Zero here. Zero says their king was a coward who ran away when food became scarce. She is in charge now. Scar considers a female in charge shameful, which he believes is the reason they live like hyenas. Zero says at least she doesn't live with them. Scar gets really angry. He tells the hyenas to harass them until they collapse, so that Zero would learn how to respect the king. For 7 days, Zero and her lionesses fight against Scar's hyenas without any water, food or sleep. Wow. 32 hyenas died, but all the lionesses still alive. When Shenzi wants to kill them all, Scar stops them. He is impressed with Zero and her lionesses, so he tells them to either join him or die. Scar asks Zero, which pride of yours do you want to save? God, that's such a cool line. Zero will agree to join. Serabi says there won't be enough food for all of them, but Scar disagrees. As Shenzi expected, Scar prefers Zero's lionesses over the hyenas and the Pride Landers, and Zero knows it. They are much better hunters. Serabi doesn't like her and Zero couldn't care less. I love it each time I see Zero covered in blood. She is so cool. Zero will slowly have feelings for Scar. She starts to see herself in him. She feels that both of them are mentally wounded, alone, unloved, and misunderstood. She believes that if they ended up together, they could fix each other. Something that is a possibility in other timelines, but not in this comic. Zero promises Scar an heir, and she hopes that eventually he would fall for her. She was wrong. Zero will become the queen, but the moment Nuka is born, Scar loses all the respect he has for her. Nuka is Zero's first failure, and because of that she will hate him from now on. Scar won't love her back, and it slowly drives Zero crazy. She isn't the only one. Serabi has also lost hope. When she is going to make a God of War reference, Nuka is the one to stop her. He will become a ray of sunshine in Serabi's dark life, her only hope, her only reason of living. Serabi will be the parent figure to Nuka that he never had. This is the first page of the comic that broke me. To pair Serabi and Nuka, the two most underrated Lion King characters, is such a genius idea. I don't know if in this comic it has happened for the first time or somebody else has came up with this idea in the fan base, but this comic has done it the best. Serabi will give Nuka a bath, but when he says you're messing up my mane, Serabi will kindly tell Nuka to go out and play. When Nuka leaves, Serabi will burst into tears. From all the Lion King fan projects I have seen, in this one Scar is probably the most abusive towards Nuka. Zero is pregnant again and Scar wants his new son to be his heir. Nuka just simply asks Scar why his firstborn isn't his heir, but Scar smacks him, sending him flying out of the cave. Nuka runs to Serabi, tears in his eyes. He will cry himself to sleep between Serabi's paws. Zero will yell at Serabi for trying to turn her son against her. Serabi tells Zero that Nuka would never come to her if she took care of him properly. Zero tells Serabi that she can pet Nuka as she wants, but it will never be her Simba, which almost crosses the red line. It was a cool villainous line, but it's too cruel. Poor Serabi. After a while, Vatani will be born, and the moment Scar realizes it is a she, he changes attitude again. He doesn't even bother to name her or ask Zero what name she has in mind. He just tells her to do whatever she wants with her. Zero asks Scar if he even loves her. Scar says he never asked for her love, so he shouldn't expect his love. He was promised an heir that she clearly can't give him one. Nala will try to run away and find help. Shenzi will stop her, but Nala talks it out. Shenzi is not blind. She knows with Scar as the king, they will all starve to death. So she lets Nala go, and Nala promises to help her in return. Nala will be gone for a while because although a lot of people loved Mufasa as a king, they don't dare fighting against that many hyenas. Zero convinces Scar to let her and her lionesses go back to the Outlands so that she could find something to eat, so that Kovu would be born strong. Even when Zero is pregnant, she won't stop being cool. She ate a crocodile! She will hear Scar's roar and will run back to Pride Rock, seeing Simba in his place. She will see Scar's corpse, which finally breaks Zero's mind. Despite Nala begging him, Simba banishes Zero. She feels the smell of hyenas on Scar's body. So despite being pregnant, she takes the Outlanders to the hyenas and commits hyena genocide. Zero will bite Shenzi's throat and Banzai will bite Zero's ear to stop her, giving her the ear notch. After the massacre, Zero will leave, but after telling Simba that he will hear about her again, Zero will give birth to Kovu on the way back to Outlands, becoming her only reason of living. Shenzi and a few more hyenas actually survived. Apparently in the past, Shenzi challenged their leader and became the new leader by defeating her. But now her daughter is back with vengeance. She challenges Shenzi and defeats her and becomes the leader and takes all the hyenas with her, leaving only Banzai and Ed on Shenzi's side. We got 2 death fake outs for Shenzi in a row. Once was enough, but twice is just bad writing, and it will be the only case of bad writing. Shenzi says they had to leave her as well. She says she has lost everything. Banzai says she hasn't lost them. Then we see Scar climbing a mountain. When he reaches the top, he sees Mufasa and Ahadi, meaning this is the afterlife. Then we see this page, and do I even need to say anything? By Ahadi's request, Mufasa will throw Scar off the cliff, sending Scar into eternal darkness and void. In Book 3, Pride Land slowly goes back to its glorious days. Nala tells Simba that she is pregnant. While they are celebrating, Banzai and Ed are doing anything they can to save Shenzi, but it's not enough. so they take her to Pride Rock. No lion feels any sympathy for them, except for best girl Nala, who convinces the rest to help them because she promised Shenzi. Banzai is always looking over Shenzi and Serobi is always looking over him. Among all the lions, at the moment she is the most racist to the hyenas, something that Banzai will eventually point out. He admits that they have done many bad things, but they shouldn't ignore the fact that the lions have also killed many innocent hyenas. They are being punished for what their ancestors have done. They did horrible stuff because they were desperate. Serobi will think on it and will realize her mistake. Chomvi, Tojo and Malka are actually alive and will visit Pride Rock, so another death wake out. They were rescued by me. Shenzi will finally wake up. Serobi sees the returning boys, but she will only recognize them when a bird sits on Tojo's head. She breaks down, tears of relief coming out of her eyes after years of blaming herself for their death. By Serobi's request, Simba will let Shenzi, Banzai and Ed live in Pride Lands. Shenzi is shocked, telling him that Mufasa would never let that happen. Simba says he has stopped living in the past. Koppa will be born. The hyenas will become the royal babysitters. Then Kiara and Kayan will be born. They are twins in this comic. Zira will throw Koppa in the river once Koppa gets near the borders, giving grief to the royal family and guilt to the hyenas. Simba knows Zira did it, but he can't prove it. That's why Simba will become so protective of Kiara. In chapter 4, something happens that the artist knew it would be divisive, so we have the choice to leave the story here and just stick to official stuff, or we could continue. And of course I am going to continue. This one is the best chapter. Scar opens his eyes, shocked to see that he is alive. He will see Koppa's unconscious body and a voice tells him to bring him home. Scar will reluctantly agree, and Koppa will annoy him to death. Koppa says if he wasn't sure that Scar is dead, he would be sure that he is him. Scar asks if he ever stops talking. Koppa says quite rarely. Scar will introduce himself as Oscari to Koppa. Koppa tells Scar that a lioness named Zero attacked him. Scar smiles and whispers, "Dear Zero, still faithful. Oh, now you have started to love her." Scar will take care of him until Koppa's leg here. In the afterlife, we see a god mad at Ahadi. Apparently by telling Mufasa to throw Scar down there, he gave Scar a second chance. Ahadi broke a rule because he believes there is hope for Scar. Koppa can't stop talking about Scar. He wonders why he killed his brother for a stupid throne. Scar asks how would he feel when he reaches Pride Lands to see Kiara as the next ruler. Koppa says his sister is more important than his throne because being king is just too much responsibility for him. Scar says Mufasa was the favorite son. Koppa says Ahadi spent more time with Mufasa only because he was the future king. Scar says Scar got his scar from Ahadi. Koppa says it was an accident that was the result of Scar being a pain, and that Ahadi died from the guilt, which moves Scar a little bit. Janja, son of Shenzi and Banzai will be born. Yeah, after a long time, Banzai finally found the courage to tell his true feelings to Shenzi, and she loved him back. A few hyenas will come back to Shenzi, Jesiri, Medoa, Chizi and Changu being most of them. The new leader wasn't any better than Shenzi. At first Shenzi tells them to go away, but when one of them says maybe they should go to the Outland, Shenzi takes it back because she can't let another cop die. She lets them live near their home, but she won't lead anymore. Chizi is the son of a cousin of it. That's why he looks like him. Scar and Koppa's journey take much longer than expected. Koppa is a teenager now. He name drops Shenzi. Scar says that they backstabbed Scar. Koppa says that Scar was the first to betray. Scar says he still got them into Pride Lands. Who else else did? Koppa says his father did. Koppa believed that both Mufasa and Scar were wrong. One didn't let any hyena enter, and one let too many to enter. But Simba made the perfect choice by letting enough count of hyenas live in Pride Lands. Here the Lion Guard characters exist, but they are all kids, and the Lion Guard story is just a child's play. Jonjo is also one of Kayon's friends, who is always forced to be the bad guy. But this time Kayon promises him to give him a redemption arc. Simba says for the time, locking up Kayon in his own mind is the only way to protect him. When he grows up a little bit more, he will be sent away to live with Malka, Tojo and Chambi, away from Zero. And for Kiara, well, you have watched Lion King too. You know how he protects her by not letting her do anything on her own. Months will pass and Koppa is an adult now. He asks Scar if he had a family at some point. Scar says he had a mate and kids, but he wasn't a good partner or father. Koppa says at least he isn't as bad as Scar. I'm slowly feeling Koppa knows he is Scar and he is just messing with him. Koppa mentions everything wrong with Scar as a mate and as a father. And now that Scar had time to think and hear his story from another point of view, he realizes he was much worse than what he thought. Guilt is eating him alive right now. He especially feels guilty for how he treated Nuka, now realizing that to Nuka, he was the very same horrible father he accused Ahadi to be. He leaves Koppa to clear his mind. He looks at the sky and apologizes to Nuka, hoping somehow Nuka will hear it. This is the second page that broke me into tears. And to my surprise and happiness, Nuka survived the logs. He didn't die, he just passed out, and everyone else thought he was dead. That's why fan media exists. They exist to satisfy me. They exist to do the stuff that official media would never do. They exist to cure my greed. Is this another death fake out that this comic is obsessed with? Yes. Does it make sense for Scar and Nuka to be alive? No, but I don't care because I am happy. Nuka will climb with a broken leg, barely avoiding the flood. He will see Zero in the river. Zero also sees Nuka. She will smile at him with tears of happiness in her eyes. Now she can die happily. She doesn't know how, but her boy is alive. The boy that she realized she loved just a few hours ago. The boy that now is free to have a happy life without her. Just after 3 pages, this comic broke me for the third time. Give me a break, why is this comic so good? The next day, Vitani is next to the river, mourning Nuka. She sees him and helps him climb out of the river. Vitani brings Nuka up to speed. Kovu runs to Nuka and gives him a hug. Poor Nuka isn't used to this much positive emotions. While Rafiki is taking care of the broken leg, Nuka talks about his regrets and shock. Simba comes and forgives Nuka for trying to kill him. While approaching Pride Rock, Nuka wonders if he can get used to being a good guy. But the moment he sees Serabi, all his doubts vanishes. Now with both Simba and Nuka on Pride Rock, Serabi has both her boys back. After 7 pages, this comic broke me for the 4th time. At the moment, the 5th and final chapter of this book has yet to come. There's also a spin-off comic called Secrets. In chapter 1, we see that Tanglemane is Nala and Mitu's father. He is the prince from a neighboring territory. Serafina has to leave Pride Lands to marry him and become queen. But when she wants to show Nala to him, she realizes that a bunch of rogues had taken over and Tanglemane is probably dead. So she runs back to Pride Lands and never leaves again. In chapter 2, we find out that Zero as a cop used all the things she learned from her father to kill him after he killed her mother. She will be taken in the Pride by Tanglemane and his father, the selfish lion, who is actually a good guy. The Outlander lionesses are also from this Pride. Tanglemane tells Zero that Selfish isn't his father's name, but a nickname he was given after doing a selfish act. So Zero gives everyone else a nickname. Tangle name obviously being the nickname Zero gave to him. What would Zero's nickname would be? Zero says the Petricide. I love Zero's humor. Selfish will betroth them together, an act that both Tanglemane and Zero will disagree with because they see each other as siblings. A betrothal that Selfish will cancel after the birth of Nala because he can clearly see how much he loves Serafina. Zero's reaction to it being God tier. Some rogues will attack the Pride and kill Tanglemane's parents. They will also take down Zero. She says she is betrothed to the prince, and I don't know if she said it to save herself or Serafina. They will beat her up and leave. But there are subtle hints that show maybe they did more than just beating her up. They will reach Tanglemane and defeat him. They tell him that they killed his parents and his fiancée. Tanglemane thinks they are referring to Serafina, so he runs away because there is nothing left for him to fight for. The Outlander Lionesses find Zero and she will teach them how to fight and have their revenge. Chapter 3 is the one with the bomb drop. In this comic, Kovu is the biological son of Scar and Zero, which means him and Kiara marrying would be incest. So this chapter will fix that problem. Turns out that the story of the Selfish Lion in the Brightest Star book is a lie. Selfish is actually a dear friend to Mohatu. He was tasked with taking care of their only water source in the dry season, making sure that only Pridelanders will drink, and only enough to have energy so that everyone would have enough water to survive. A rogue lioness tries to drink from it, but Selfish doesn't let her. He tries to be civil. He warns her to go away, but she will attack her while calling her selfish. In self-defense, he pushes her away, not realizing her head hit a rock that resulted her death. He is devastated. He won't hide his crime and will face the consequences willingly. But when he realizes that she had a cub, he will run away in even more guilt. From now on, he will name himself Selfish. Mohatu wants to banish him for only 1 year, but Selfish insists on making it permanent. Only Selfish is banished, but his son won't go anywhere without her, whose mother won't go anywhere without him. That's why Selfish's wife isn't very fond of him anymore. The cub, as you can see, is Scar, who seemingly was born today. Ahadi will take him to Uru, who had just given birth to Mufasa. They will name their adopted son Taka because he was the son they wanted to have, which is the final time this comic breaks me. But it's safe to assume that chapter 5 will also break me. Only Rafiki, Mohatu, Ahadi and Uru knew this truth, and everybody else think Taka is their biological son. Rafiki promised to never tell anyone about it, which will be a burden to him, because if he later revealed that Scar is adopted, it would mean Scar would never inherit the throne, which would prevent the fall of Pride Lands and even the death of Mufasa. The next day, Rafiki will tell this secret to everyone, and I feel Serabi is going to forgive Rafiki, because she knows that Scar might have done all those horrible things even if he knew he was adopted. And yeah, that is the end of the story for now. Chapter 5 of this comic will start soon, so if you want to know what will happen next, go and read it for yourself.